Nothing.
Diane, can you hear me out there?
You're not getting anything from here either.
Turn that power, that red power off, everything will go up, you lose your. These meetings are recorded for rebroadcast, and they like us to be able to be heard and for you folks to be heard also.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Well, I guess we don't have to hear us as long as they hear us.
It says she can hear us, so.
Well, that's good.
All right, let's go for it.
So I have 7:04.
It is 7:04 p.m. and we are going to open at this time the regularly scheduled September 22nd, 2025 meeting that was scheduled to go off at 7 p.m. Please call the roll.
Dan Durham.
Here.
Don Walker.
Here.
Mike Flood.
Here.
Alec Torian.
Here.
Diane Danisk is here. Quorum is present.
Thank you. Next, we have the minutes from our last meeting. That was on the 25th of August. Any board members have any concerns, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we're ready to go. Before we call the first case, some of you may have been here before for things, I don't know. There's going to be differing opinions, I believe, on a case or two here. Please make sure that if you're the petitioner, you speak to the board when you come up. When the folks that came to speak to this get your turn, make sure, please, that you also speak to the board, because that makes it easier. We have at times had people forget that and start arguing with one another back and forth this way, and it just wastes time and accomplishes nothing. So we will get there. Everything will be fine. First case, AB 2025-27, Gaspare Vitali, vacant parcel south of 875 Dollar Bay on Leaditch. Sidwell number 09-10-206-049. Petitioner is seeking two variances from zoning ordinance 78, zoned R3. Article 27, section 27.17B. Number one is a 21.81-foot wetland setback variance from the required 25 feet for a residential driveway to be built 3.19 feet from a wetland. Number two is a 22.22 wetland setback variance from the required 25 feet for an attached garage to be built 2.78 feet from a wetland. Do we have a petitioner? Come on up. Introduce yourself, whoever's going to be primary spokesperson.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Rizzo with Fenn and Associates. We're the land surveyors and civil engineers for Gasper Vitale. You need our address,
Please.
14933 Commercial Drive, Shelby Township, 48315.
Thank you. If you would let us know, please, what you are attempting to do there or would like to do.
So basically what we really would like to do is just build a single-family home. Excuse me. As you can see, the site is inhibited by, wetlands, and then when you add the 25-foot natural feature setback, it really doesn't allow for adequate access, and it takes it away from a good portion of the property. But we feel, even with these conditions, we can still work in a driveway. The builder's able to design a house that will fit, as shown. And we are confident that we can get, a decent-looking home, with what we have to deal with. So, we're asking for just some leniency, with the buffer, we'll stay out of the wetlands, and hoping that we can get an approval from you guys.
You've been there many times, I assume,
And where?
to the site?
I personally haven't been there, but our field crews have been there, and
Okay, well, that was a mistaken impression.
the builder's been there.
Why I asked that is we haven't had a lot of rain this summer. And when I went by there, it appeared to be low and heavily green, meaning there's water in there from someplace. If you intend to put a driveway through that area, are you going to have to backfill it?
We haven't done the design plans yet, but I would imagine there'll be some earthwork and backfilling and building of grade, but we would make sure we stay out of the wetlands.
Okay, thank you. Board members.
Have you done any sort of study of any kind to how the driveway may impact future rainfall or water in that area if a driveway and potentially garage are placed there?
If you'd like,
Go ahead, yeah.
if you'd like to trade off, when you ever step up, introduce
No, I
yourself with
can,
your
yeah.
address.
Hi, I'm Gasper Vitale, owner of the property. Nice to meet everyone, and thank you for the time this evening. As it relates to the property, upon purchase, one of the concerns was, driveway access to it. So, and working with Tammy, Gerling, and Lynn at them, they said, one of the main things is making sure that the road commission, well, there was a big dispute on who owned the road there, right? Because there already is an existing road there that was already pre-designed, but they didn't know if it was Orion Township or if it was the road commission that
Let
owned
me
the property.
interrupt 1 second. Are you speaking of Lightitch Drive?
Lightitch Drive, yes,
Thank you.
yes. So, done a lot of due diligence over the last 6 months. Originally, road commission was saying, nope, it's not our property. When the signs are white and black, it's private. When they're green, they're road commission. After some back and forth with the attorneys, they did verify that the road there is controlled by the road commission. So Lynn and Tammy said that they suggested that, we seek approval from the road commission before even coming to this meeting here. So we did that for about 3 or 4 months. Finally, road commission did grant us the permit for it. You guys should have it. So the permit was approved just a week or two ago. And they treated it more like not a main road, but like a drive access to a property. With that said, there is specifications on how to build the road, like what stone and what type of fabric and such. They didn't specify any additional requirements for stormwater retention, right? I am familiar with the property. Over the last 2 years, I've probably been there a dozen times or so, so I've visited in all elements. I was there a half hour before this meeting. Obviously, this time of the year, it's going to be drier than most, so it's holding 0 water right now. I do understand that I was just informed that there was a water issue from a neighboring property owner, said that, at times of the year, there could be water at that low area. So, to answer the question, no, we haven't actually done a study. I believe that, when applying for a building permit to build a new home, if there was something that, we could do within the land, within that lot, that, I've seen people do like, retention areas within it, like they kind of put like a basin with stone where is able to hold water in certain areas. Most of this lot here itself is almost always dry. Have you seen the wetland delineation? So we had Barn Associates, which is a highly renowned wetland consultant, and they're very familiar with Eagle and all their requirements. The property that we're looking at is probably 95% dry. It's the adjacent property that has a low area that we're not looking to do anything with, that has the area where it holds the water would be held during, a rainfall. So our property that we're looking at, again, it's probably only has less than 2 or 3% of the wetlands. It's all the neighboring property. Yeah, if during an engineer review of the building permit, they said they had an idea of some kind of retention within that lot, I would be open to that. But there hasn't been a study to say how much waterfall, what time of the year, or anything like that.
Please.
Follow-up question to that. If the driveway is built with the setbacks requested, how confident are you that a home could eventually be built on that lot without the need for any additional setbacks, or also avoiding the wetland area to avoid potential flooding to other properties in that area?
I'm very confident. Just a year ago, we went through this process with another property. So our company's Vitality Real Estate New Homes. We build new homes in the area. We're building new homes right now in Lake Orion. I just went through this process a year ago on a customer that we had to go through the same process. But they actually had to cut through the wetland. We're not asking to go through the wetland. We're just looking at the buffer zone. So this property that we had in the Pinery, off of Newman Road, we actually had to get an Eagle permit in order to cut through the wetlands to get to the property in the back. And, from looking at the construction, when you build a new home, you work with the building department and the engineering department, right? So they're gonna also look at how, when the home is designed on there, where to put the swales and what's gonna be the most effective way to do the stormwater and where to move the water to on the property. So that's both Fenner and Associates working with the township engineers to get to the best result.
Thank you. Mr. Goodlow,
Yes,
you are familiar with this to some degree, I imagine?
yes.
Thoughts, opinion?
I do think, I was looking at that last screen, and you can kind of see that this is the contours, right? Seems pretty sloping all this way, but it doesn't seem like water would pool in this area because there's no real pools. It's kind of over where the applicant said, right in this area is where the water would pool. We always look, when we do our reviews of our civil drawings that they submit at their elevations to make sure that we see where the water's going, how it's being handled on the property. If we have a red flag, we will send it to our engineers and get an opinion from them. But until we see how they put it and what their elevations of their basement, brick ledge, everything are, we can make that determination at that time.
In your opinion, because none of us can know, if this goes through as designed, Do you anticipate any problem putting water that belongs there onto an adjacent property?
Typically, you're not allowed to just dump water from one property to another. Riparian rights is highest elevation to lowest elevation at non-erosive velocities. So as long as it's contained, mainly, like, you don't want a downspout or a sub pump running onto a neighbor's adjacent property. You have two pieces here, is that correct?
Yeah, they're two separate pieces, but
Yeah.
yes.
So, obviously, most of the water runs that way, down towards that end. It's definitely a lower elevation. It's 986 around this area, and this property's 996, 994.
Yeah, I mean, there's 8 or 10 feet of fall
Yeah,
there.
you can see that. So, that'll have to be managed. We just want to make sure it's non-erosive velocities is our biggest key, because that causes damage to other properties.
Thank you. One more question for you. Normally, when people come here, they had to come here before they could go to the next spot. If you are successful tonight, what is your next step?
The next step would be getting with our architect to finalize plan design, right? After plan design, then it would go to engineering, our internal engineers. Then we would go get the road commission permit, and then apply for a building permit, and then go through the normal building permit process. And there's a lot of clerical involved in that, right? In order to just apply for a permit, you need to have engineering, the plot plan, you need to have energy documents, heat calculations. So there's a lot more to the steps. But that's, the step would be a process path to a new construction home.
Okay. Board members seem to be thinking it over, so why don't we have the first person from the audience that came to speak to this?
I have one question.
Well, hold, go ahead.
Have you done any research or discussed with any of the engineers or architects on whether a home could be built on the lots right now without any of the setbacks?
It cannot without the access and setbacks, no.
Okay.
Here, let's take the first person from the audience. Come on up. These gentlemen will yield the mic. Introduce yourself. And you have roughly 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind.
Okay, thank you, Board. My name's Joseph Trasinski. I own the lots and the house next to the lots in question. And what I'd like to propose right out of the gate is that this variance be tabled because more information is needed. But to justify that, my point would be if you could, whoever's controlling this computer screen could pull back that plan view for another couple 100 feet.
This one?
No, the actual Google Earth one.
This one?
Yeah, can you bring that back out even more so you can show more of the, there you go, there you go. So Lighted Street, Pine Tree is about 25 feet above my house, right? Years ago, before we all built out houses, all the water that would land on that land would all go down to the lake. But all those houses you see around in that circle were all built up to stop that water from coming into their houses, into their sump pumps. The dead end now is the lots that Gasper has purchased. And all I'm saying is that to date, I haven't heard a remediation plan that would take care of the fact that for 60% of the non-frozen year, my neighbor, Mr. and Mrs. Burkhart's whole front lawn is filled with water. And any kind of building or backfilling is just gonna make that worse. I feel bad for Gasper and his crew because as you can see visually, this is like the kicking the can down the road till we got to the last spot where you could put the can. And now we're talking about that being the secondary lot, which could be fine. When they built Tire Warehouse, they made them put a big retention pond next to it to make up for the fact that they were displacing all that wetlands. I remember that. When they build subdivisions, they make them put in big retention ponds with a way for the water to go somewhere other than the people's houses. And I haven't heard or seen that yet today. So I'm just asking, looking for the no, that we get a stay until we get more information. And I can spend a little bit more time, and my neighbors spend a little more time delving into this issue because we haven't been on it for 2 years. We've only been on it for the past couple of weeks, so.
So So this retention pond is what you believe needs to be explored further?
Absolutely, that and whatever the rules are for the MEW and the, you know, all the lettering agencies in the state of Michigan that get involved in this kind of stuff. You know, I have a financial gain if he improves that property, right? My property improves as well, so I don't have a stake in him not being able to build a house there, but I do have a stake on whether or not all that water ending up being on somebody else's property. That's my main point.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Come on up.
My name's Cecilia Burkhart, and my husband, who's sick, we live at 480 Shady Oaks, which is the log home.
Speak right up because they have to record us in that back room.
Okay,
Hold that microphone down a little bit.
okay.
There you go.
Start again?
We're fine, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Along with our neighbors at 455 Shady Oaks, we likely have the greatest impact on the variance if it passes, without addressing the wetland. As mentioned in your report, wetlands might mitigate the rain overflow. The pictures in the variance requested are from August 15th of 2024. The pictures we are showing you today are from spring and summer of this year. We have lived at 480 for 36 years and have seen a significant increase in the flooding on our property since the building of the home at 439 Shady Oaks. Also, our property attaches to another wetland on the opposite side we share with 496 Shady Oaks and a resident on Leedick Street. At times, the water is high enough that both sides meet. When that occurs, 496 has a crawl space, and that water needs to be pumped out. According to the regulations with Eagle, the wetlands A and B are 500 feet from Lake Orion. A permit would be required from Eagle to fill the dredge or place structures within the wetlands. So my questions today are, what are the plans to address and rectify this issue, which I think has been discussed somewhat, and who are accountable for the flooding if it goes forward? If this doesn't work and we're still underwater, where does that leave us and our neighbors? The water issue will become ours, is basically what it is. So I do have some pictures that I brought, if I can bring them up.
Thank you. These look awful early in the year with no snow melt or anything, or no
And
leaves
that's
on it.
April, one's April of this year, and so after the thaw, and just a rainy season, and the other one is June. So even if we had more significant rain last night, or when we get it in the next couple of days, it's going to start looking like that again.
Okay, did you have anything additional for the board?
No, I don't, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's have the gentleman, the petition, I'll get you, you'll get a turn. Petitioners, come back up, please. Reintroduce yourselves briefly, please.
Jeff Rizzo, Fenn Associates.
Gasper Vitale.
Okay, you heard some statements from the folks. You have some answers that we don't have, right? So, go ahead with it, whatever,
Actually, Jessica, I'd like to bring up one of the associates. Jessica, she has some information in regards to one of the concerns. In regards to flooding. So first of all, you know, if they have a flooding issue now, obviously that's been ongoing for, you know, for a while. I would tell you that, you know, our goal is to, you know, alleviate or try to improve on the situation. So they currently have a problem. It's not that what we're asking for is going to create a problem. So what we're looking to do is, one, we're not asking to do anything in the wetlands area. our variance request is just the buffer area, not the wetlands area. So that's why no Eagle permit is required, because we're only talking about this 25-foot buffer zone. As it relates to the, the flooding situation, where we're building the home in elevation-wise with the individuals that we're talking, our home would be, is at a much higher level. So and they're at a lower level, so that's why they're having water issues on their property, because they're at a lower level. But Jessica could have some ideas, and that's what I had commented on earlier, was that, certain townships in certain areas, you're able to create something within the property that helps alleviate water situations when there's not a storm system. So, we build in a lot of different communities. A lot of times those storm systems are already there. You're able to tap into it. This situation doesn't seem like Orion Township has any storm there. I would even ask, with the engineering department, if they have any, future plans of stormwater, because of, regardless of my situation, they're having a situation with flooding now, regardless of what we were proposing. I believe that what we propose will benefit their situation if we're able to do some kind of a storm system within the lot and building it, and to alleviate, added water going onto the neighboring properties. So I'll turn it over to Jessica here.
Hello, I'm Jessica Sutter, engineer at Fenton Associates. So much of what Gasper was saying, one of the ideas we had for the stormwater from this site, because as we were saying earlier, the site pretty much drains from the back to the road. And you're not allowed to just drain your water off-site onto anyone else's property. So what we could do is a leaching basin or a dry well. We've done them in several other locations where there's not a storm system we could connect to. There's not a storm system here. There's nothing in front of the site and in the street. I believe there is one on Shady Oaks, but it's not anywhere near our property where we could reach it and connect to it. So I do have a little detail of it I can show you guys. It's pretty much just maybe a 10 by 10, 20 by 20 hole that you dig, fill with stone. You have a catch basin in the middle. It's perforated. It gives the water somewhere to go that runs off the surface, gets it underground, lets it absorb back into the groundwater table. All we can really do for their problem is not add any of our stormwater runoff through the street and continuing downhill onto their property. So when we get to the plot plan, the engineering design of the site, that would be something we would definitely want to consider doing in order to keep our stormwater on our site and not flood out anyone else. As far as the flooding and that's currently on the site, because of the wetlands, there's not really anything we can do. They're wetlands. They have to stay wet. Eagle, they are regulated by Eagle. We don't want to touch them. So we really can't drain the water from them without an Eagle permit. That would be like a big no-no for the state. Even filling them up, like we can't, they're too big. We can't fill the whole thing. Eagle doesn't allow a permit for that much wetland fill. So we can't really alleviate the flooding that's currently going on site. But did you guys want to see the detail that we have of the basin?
Sure.
I'll bring that up to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully that helps alleviate some of the questions. Obviously,
Question for you while you're there. You bring up a leaching basin. I am familiar with them. I've seen them in other places. Now, the biggest question I have is if you have this in your plans, in your thoughts, It's not been put to paper yet because you haven't done any of the drawings that require it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. We didn't want to get to the cart and, in front of the horse. We wanted to come here first before we started designing plans and getting everything in the works if, that's-
What if that were a hard condition on you being successful tonight?
That would be up to Mr.
And
Vitale.
I don't know whether it'd be up to the board, it's not my business. But if they said, we kind of like it, we'll like it better if you include this, are you willing to move?
Oh, absolutely. And to add a basin like that, onto the property would be an easy decision for us to absorb that cost. If that's gonna help the situation, yes.
Can we bring the plan back up? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sure. Mr. Goodloe can do it.
Put that plan again?
Yeah. I just wanted to point out.
It looked like that you need hardly any variances.
So, like I was saying, the site drains from the rear to the front, so the ideal place for the leaching basin would be near the road. However, there is that wetland, pocket of wetlands in the road, and a buffer from that. So we couldn't place it where those 3 trees are. We wouldn't be able to place it closer in that area without going in that buffer. So that's something that would need to be worked out as well during engineering as to where we could place it on here, since pretty much the whole entire front of the site is in that buffer.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. So working with the township engineers and our engineers, they would determine what's gonna be the best location on the property for it, right? They say the back left, the front left, the front right, let them work that out and make the decision that's gonna be the best. So trying to pinpoint the location today, I would say that one, if you said Gasper, would you put in this basin with this approval, if it helps the situation, the answer is an easy yes. Where exactly, I think the best is for the experts, which is township and our engineers.
I would have no idea myself. It's just if you would be willing to make the effort and take the step. That's pretty much what we would need to know. Thank you. Board members, anything?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walker.
I think we're sort of getting off, we're down the road, 4 or 5 years down the road of building. We're here today for 2 variances from the ordinance. 85% variances as I do the math. So this building is going to go right next to all of the impinged wetlands. The purpose of the wetlands is to keep them wet, keep it away from everybody else. I can't see how this doesn't aggravate that situation just from this point forward.
What do you feel about the leaching basin?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an engineer, I'm not an architect, as I say proudly, often from this board.
Let me interrupt you just a minute. Mr. Goodloe, what
Yes.
do you feel about the leaching basin?
If they can provide, obviously, they'll have to do engineered calculations, provide the sheet flow that's coming onto that property and how to calculate what they need and where it's going. So, it has no problem, as long as the math works out for us. Typically, the engineers give us the submittal. They say, this is what we propose. We'd review it and move forward with that.
Mr. Chairman, I want to follow up on what Mr. Walker was saying there too about these 2 variances there. There is a reason for the 25-foot setback from a wetlands, why our ordinance says that, is to protect that wetlands. And we requested to encroach on, not the wetlands, but on the approach to the wetlands. And that's where I'm getting a little, trying to make my mind up, whether that would be valid, if this is
Is it anybody's opinion up and down the line here that the driveways that they're asking for, where they're asking for them, would force water in a direction that it's not going now or cause more to be generated?
Well, the one is for the driveway and the other is for a setback for the garage. To be, so we are talking about a building and a driveway, separate. And this is what I'm trying to go over in my mind. Is that encroachment, that much of encroachment, staying outside the wetlands, but actually being almost right up on, beside them, is that gonna cause any further, problem with the water runoff? And I've heard, engineers will tell you this and that, and this and that. They're not encroaching into the wetlands, but they are encroaching on the approach to the wetland.
I did want to add, so, being that I'm very familiar with the property and walked it several times in several areas of several seasons, if you're looking at, where the water always goes, right, it's always usually the lowest spot, naturally. And that lowest spot, if you take your mouse and you bring it over to lot 166, right? It's literally at the 10, you see the 10-foot setback from 166 and 167? Where it says wetland area B, even further south, right around where your mouse is, right in there, it's really close to 166. So although the area that, we're talking about is 3 feet from the wetlands, there's no water up in that area over there. The water is all at this 167 to 166 location and down further. So, I know we are asking for the variance to be closer to the buffer, to the wetlands, but in that area there, because the property slopes, like Mr. Goodall was saying, about 10 feet higher, the water is far away, way down in that dark, dark spot, down low there, yes.
Can I see those photographs? So one question, and when I look at the plans here, I think the little flower-looking marks are the trees, correct? So, I mean, right now where you've got the proposed house, the proposed garage, and the proposed driveway, I mean, I can count 25-plus trees being removed. I mean, do you have any idea how that's going to potentially impact the flow of water to different areas now that essentially all the natural blocking that's currently there is going to be gone?
Yeah, so again, I think, no, to tell you how much a tree removal is going to impinge or change the water flow in that area, the answer is no. Going back to doing the actual math calculation, when you build a home and put this surface of a home and this driveway, that's where the engineers come in and say, all right, how do we control that water within this property, right? And that's where it comes down to whatever these leach basins, and I'm not super familiar with it, or creating swales within the water to go specifically into these holding areas. But no, there would be some tree removal, definitely. But I also think through engineering is where you do the calculations and you have the math to say, all right, we're doing this, we're changing this, and now we're bringing water to these specific locations, and what elements need to be added on the property in order to retain it. And that's the retention that someone was mentioning earlier about doing some on-site retention.
I have a question. Have you read our tree ordinance?
I have not read the tree ordinance.
Did you know we have one?
Yes, I do know.
You haven't read it.
I have not read the tree
We're
ordinance.
replacing trees you cut down. You have no idea what that says.
No, I have not read the tree ordinance.
Mr. Neskis?
You're asking for a 3-car garage, which moves it much closer to the wetlands. Is a 3-car garage necessary, or would a 2-car garage suffice, which would move it farther away from the wetlands?
So that's a great question. No, is a three-car garage necessary? Is it two-car or is it one-car, right? Everyone loves a garage, and the larger the garage is, the better it is. So for value and selling of the home, it definitely benefits to have a three-car garage. Is it a must-have? No, it isn't. So if we look at that engineered design one more time, I could kind of give you, I have a rendering, and I could show you, this is just, this is right off of our website, and I could show you, go to back to the other plan. That one, yep. So the three-car garage, the garage is in the front right corner. See where it says Unex? And the area that's bumping out to the right from where the house is, that's the third-car garage portion. So,
It's the opposite of this.
that's just a flip drawing, correct. If you flip that, the garage would be the garage is on the left, right on this plan, it's on the left on there. But that's a concept of a drawing, not the exact home, but something that we would build and what we build a lot like. But to answer the question, I think it doesn't need to be a three-car garage. But if that made the difference in the decision tonight to say, moving it from a three-car down to a two-car, and now we're moving this from being, 3 feet away where the home is to, call it 7 or 8 feet away maybe, or 10, I don't know what it would be exactly. I do understand, and it does make sense if that is a concern for the board, being that it's only 3 feet, and if going to 6 or 8 feet or 10 feet would, alleviate the concern, I understand that, and I'd be willing to make the plan modification with the architects and the engineers.
Okay, I ask you folks to relinquish the mic for a minute. I owe the gentleman on the aisle 3 minutes of public speaking time.
Okay?
He'll come up, you guys just sit down if you would.
Okay.
Couldn't forget you after telling you I wouldn't.
Thank you, because I missed the Lions game, the start of it. So I'm just here to support the Burkharts. Long-term neighbors. I live across the street at 467. I grew up on the road, so I've been there for, going on 58 years. That area is basically, as Joe described it, Joe Trzynski, the water flows down Leidick, and then basically it pools in that area. So it's not just when it's melting. Basically, with these intense storms we've been having the last couple of years, we get an intense storm. Shady Oaks is flooded down there by the corner, so that's flooded. And that whole area out in front of the Burkharts is also flooded. I guess my question would be, where they put the driveway in, are they changing the elevation? Because it would seem to me, if the natural flow has come down Leidick through that area, then that's going to help block the flow to the low area on 167 or 166. And maybe that's not applicable because they only have to worry about the runoff from their lot where they're building. But I do think for the board, it's just a concern for a longtime resident that area has always had water. The water has gotten, the situation's gotten worse as they built more homes. And I don't know if this is going to exacerbate the situation, but I know you always have to control the water on your own property, which is, it sounds like that's what they're trying to do. But when they put this driveway in, are they raising that elevation? It's then going to create a dam that's going to flood the Burkharts worse. So that's my concern. So thank you.
Do we have anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Okay, folks, come back up if you'd like to, the applicant. And while they're getting up, I have written paperwork from Mr. Trzynski, Joseph Trzynski, and from, I saw it a minute ago, Andrew Knudsen. I have them, their written communication, which will be part of the record for the meeting tonight. Board members, anything for these folks? I would, at this point, tell you, you have a couple of options. You can go with what you came with. You can go with, this is what I want, I have to have this, it's this or nothing. Or you could get a feel for the temperature in the room, whatever you determine that to be. And I will say, from my standpoint, it seems like there is possibly some holes in your presentation, the tree ordinance being one of them. It's hard to answer whether water will be affected by removal of trees without knowing how many you're supposed to put back in. That's just the first thing that came to me. So it seems like there's some holes that you may benefit from withdrawing and filling. At that point, you will have not gotten a no. You will have gotten a, we'll have to look at it when you get ready again. They gave me a list of dates that we could postpone a meeting to if we had a case tonight like this. And I did what I always did. I lost the meeting, the piece of paper, so I don't have it. This gentleman has it.
Mr. Chair.
There we go.
You got a sec, Mr. Chair, when you get a second, apologize. Just a couple comments when you get a second.
For you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. It would be October 13, 27, or November 10. Those would be 3 dates. So you do have that option too. And that will be totally up to you. Ms. Goodlow.
Yes, first thing, the tree ordinance is not really applicable on this property because of the size and the residential scope. It really doesn't touch on that. It's a bit of a contest. And then I think you made a great point. The 3.19 foot on that side, just getting a lawnmower through there. And dealing, it's not you, but potential homeowners coming in, they'll just drive through that and then, they could be, because the object is to not disturb the wetland. That's what the variance is for, is we do not want to disturb that. And I think 3 foot would be a little tight. So I think you made a great point about that third car garage. That was just my comments.
What do you think?
So, without knowing the tree ordinance, I have mixed feelings right now because,
Well, Mr. Goodlow, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Mr. Goodlow basically said that that is not going to be a factor here.
so if the tree ordinance is not a factor, then I would be comfortable with a reduction. We would go back to our architect and change it from the 2.79 to a design that would be of, more than, call it 7 or 8 feet from that wetland corner, from the construction of the dwelling. So then that would leave, and from what I've seen, right, a lot of homes in Lake Orion have their building right at 5 feet from the lot line, right? You got the air conditioner, and you're scooting by to get by it. So I would say that if we can increase it more than 5 feet, right? Right now, there's a lot of dwellings that are 5 feet from the property lines. So if we take it to, call it, where it matches the minimum of the what's the other ordinance? 3.19? So over 5 feet. So 5 or over 5 feet, then I would be comfortable with making a change to the plan if the board says, yes, we'll accept, call it 5 feet or 6 feet from that wetland corner. And that's the bottom right corner of the garage is where I'm notating it.
Here's where we get into trouble. People, or applicants, over the last few years, this comes up occasionally. And while we'll agree to do it kind of like this, I don't like to work on the fly because you need to know exactly what you're agreeing to, and we need to know exactly what we're approving. With the dates in October, and again, it is up to you. It is none of my business. I'm just throwing it out there. you could conceivably be back here in a month with your updated everything. We will be able to look at it again and render yea or nay at that time,
Okay?
if that's the way you decide to go. Mr. Claude?
Mr. Chairman, if the applicant decides to go that avenue, I think the gentleman had a great, the public speaker on what's the elevation of the driveway, you know, compared to what the elevation of that property is now, avoiding the, you know, a dam situation, damming the water. I think that would be helpful for me also, to know that information. If the applicant so chooses to go readjust his figures.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, I would say tabling it, so we can have more information. I feel it'll also make, you know, the room, along with the board, more comfortable having more information to make a decision on. If the board feels like it's gonna be beneficial in the decision and us moving that distance away from being 3 feet on that one corner of the garage, then we can make that modification and revise the plan. Also add some elevations to the driveway and such, so that we have some better numbers.
So am I hearing you wanting to move the case away from tonight and bring it back on another day?
Yep.
Okay, I gave you 3 days, here you go, just in case. We got the 13th of October, the 22nd, the 27th of October, and the 10th of November.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question first?
Please.
And it might be a question for Mr. Goodall. The dotted line that says the 25-foot natural setback, what is the impact of that on the building site?
I didn't hear the question.
The dotted line that goes diagonally through the property, what's the impact of that? You know, I'm not sure what the purpose.
I'm not 100% sure, I was just looking it up.
So
I'm
my,
not
this is just
100% sure
a
on that.
question I have. And I'm not an architect, I'm not a, but if I look at your plan, if you flipped your house and put that on more to the right and the garage to the left, which would move it all away from that wetland, just like as the picture you showed us, would that have an impact? And I'm just throwing out what I see.
I think, again, the main reason for the meeting was the variance request for the,
Right,
for the 25-foot buffer rule.
right, right.
I do feel that the plan modification can be adjusted, you know, in order to, maybe even have a 3-car garage and increase the size from that 3.9. I do think it's possible, right?
I'm just looking, yeah, at that if you flipped it, you might, I don't know.
Yeah.
Going into this, not knowing, and not, this is, you know, first variance of this request in Orion Township, you know, I'm also here to learn through this process and make a better decision for everyone here in the room. So, I think if we go back and look at, you know, there is space within the setback, that the plan can be changed. I think we can do that, and also increase the space from the actual wetland to the garage, which would be beneficial, I think, like Mr. Gallo saying, you're only 3 feet, a lawnmower is gonna be right infringing on that corner of the wetland. Even though the permit, our request is, that we're not on it, because technically we're not, we all could say that 3 feet is not that much space when you're away from, you know, the wetland area. So we'll go ahead and move it back. I was just looking at the dates. What were the dates again we were talking about?
October 13 or 27 or November 10. Make sure you give yourself enough time.
When is the submission date for the
You won't have to submit, resubmit. You can set that date tonight, because it's a date known, a known date, you don't have to resubmit.
And if he's,
Yeah, the 13th would be great then.
And if he's reducing down, not increasing, that makes a difference.
Yes, and you don't have to re-advertise if you're going
Right.
to come in with a lesser variance.
Yeah, the variance will be lesser, correct.
So you're asking to postpone your case until October 13. Board members, feelings?
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, we need a motion on that. You want me to make the motion?
Please.
And this is for the applicant wanting to postpone so he can reconfigure, possibly for a lesser variance request. In the case of AB 2025-27, Gaspar Vitale, vacant parcel south of 875 Dollar Bay Drive on Lidditch Street, parcel number 0910-206-049. The applicant is requesting to be postponed until October 13th, 2025 ZBA meeting.
We have a motion on the floor.
I think the pictures were
We have
heard.
a motion on the floor by Mr. Flood, supported by Mr. Walker. Any discussion by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Dr. Egan?
Yes.
Diane Daneskis, yes. Don Walker?
Yes.
Mike Flood?
Yes.
Dan Durham?
Yes.
Motion passes.
For tonight's purposes, that's the right decision.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you again.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Lions.
You'll want to get back with the Planning and Zoning Department and. Yeah, Yep.
Next case, AB 2025-29, Jared Harper at 1555 Hillside Street, Sidwell 09-09-477-036. Petitioner is seeking two variances from zoning ordinance 78, zoned SE, Article 27, Section 27.02A8. Number one is a 240-square-foot variance above the approved 1,872-square-foot maximum floor area of all accessory structures to build a 240-square-foot gazebo carport. Number two is a 240-square-foot variance above the approved 1,200 square feet maximum floor area of all detached accessory buildings to build a 240 square foot gazebo carport. Applicant, come up, introduce yourself, and let us know what you'd like to do.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jared Harper. This is my wife, Carolina Harper. Yeah, so we would like to build a gazebo carport that is next to the garage that we have. We live with my grandmother, Connie Harper, who had the original variance for a barn that was used for storage of their equipment, and that's why the variance for this, to have a spot for her to park, is needed. Right now, she's parking in the driveway, and my grandmother has issues backing out sometimes, trying to get around her car. So first part of the plan, which is already in motion for those that have gone to the property and saw, is digging out an area for pavers for the car to come around and go in and have a spot to park. At the same time, I'm also doing some work to improve the drainage. So there's a channel drain being put in because we do have an area on the driveway that kind of pools up. We're trying to push some of that away. That's not part of the variance. But what we'd like to do is have on that paver area be a gazebo / carport that in the summer is a space to kind of hang out, and in the winter be a walking area so she doesn't have to wipe off her car in the snow.
Thank you. Board members.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Flood.
sir, and your wife, read through the packet there, and the reason you need that, some of the other variances for the maximum floors, because at the time that the pole barn was granted its variance, this type of language was not in our current ordinance. And now subsequently, since the ordinance is updated with this type of, that's why you have to have all that maximum, the additional maximum
Right, yeah, Lynn was explaining that to me.
floor for the structure, yeah. So in essence, you're really looking at a 200 square foot variance above the approved.
Yeah, it's one
1,800,
structure, even though it's
right.
broken up into two variances.
And you said your grandmother, is your grandmother, you said?
Yeah, my grandmother. It is her house. We live with her. We kind of.
She needs that carport to protect her vehicle and,
So the carport's to protect her vehicle. My grandma has the garage that she can park in.
Okay.
But when she tries to back out, she has trouble sometimes. So this will just make her life easier if my wife can, or me, can park underneath that carport instead.
that'd help you with the elements in the wintertime and everything,
Yes.
the snow and, yeah. I understand that, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there adequate space in the current garage?
The two-car garage, and there's three of us there. So
Okay.
we expand my car, her car. And then the barn is not in a spot where in the winter, we don't access the barn with vehicles in the winter. That kind of just, it's not drivable there.
And the barn, is your barn the one that had the temporary, there's like a temporary carport there as well, or is that your neighbor's? It was difficult to tell when I went there. There's the barn kind of behind the house, slightly up the hill.
And then, yeah, there's a temporary structure there that's holding a trailer right now. Yeah.
That is your okay. And I guess for any reason, would you be unable to park under that structure?
So with that one, again, like I said, the area to get back through that, it's not something that we want to be driving on the grass. I am capable of shoveling and plowing the driveway area, and I have my grandpa's, his snow blower. I've attempted to clear out that area so that the barn is accessible in the winter, and I've never been able to accomplish that. It's very difficult to get through there. It's a little bit uphill, and the snow blower can only do so much.
This will be detached, it won't be attached.
Yeah, don't want to
Freestanding.
attach it, exactly. Yeah, just want to do footings in the ground to make sure it's secured properly, want to make sure that's all good.
Nothing additional by the board, we can stand for a motion if somebody was here to.
They've gone through their paperwork.
They keep telling us they're gonna make these motion forms less complicated, but it doesn't.
Oh, but it's still just a long form to go through, yeah.
While we're waiting, how long have you lived in the community?
So I started living with my grandma in 2019, right after I graduated college. I started living with her. I got a job at GM. Sorry, Don, I am an engineer. But at GM, and that's when COVID hit. We lost my grandpa to COVID, so it turned into them giving me a good living situation to me helping out my grandma. And after that, I've been working at GM for a couple of years. I met my wife, Carolina. She moved in with us, and we both kind of help out there and live there. It's kind of mutually beneficial for us. Honestly, didn't plan on staying at my grandma's for as long as we have, but now that's become the situation.
So sorry for your loss.
It's an impressive piece of property.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Hold it against you if you're an engineer.
I just heard that earlier, is that you're proud to not be an engineer, so.
I wasn't gonna tell you that, but that's what I was at General Motors too, so
Oh, you were to GM too? Okay. What did you do? What did you do at GM?
I was a stationary engineer. I operated the powerhouses,
Oh, cool.
6 of them.
Oh, nice, wow. I'm a materials engineer, so working with material approvals for choosing what adhesives for me specifically. I do the adhesives on the vehicles.
And my brother was in environmental,
Oh, cool.
all the paint shops.
Yeah, okay, yeah, work with them a lot because the adhesives have their problems that we gotta deal with.
Anything to do with the Orion plan over here?
Yeah, I have a couple adhesives that I've helped get approved to Orion, and that they build some of the electric vehicles there.
In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-29, Jared Harper, 1555 Hillside Street, Sidwell 09-09-477-036. I move that the petitioner's request for 2 variances from zoning ordinance 78, zoned SE, Article 27, Section 27.02A8. 1, a 240-foot square foot variance from above the approved 1,872 square foot maximum floor area of all accessory structures to build a 240-foot square foot gazebo/carport. 2, a 240-foot variance from the approved 1,200 square foot maximum floor area of all detached accessory structures to build a 240 square foot gazebo/carport be granted. For an application date stamped and received August 22nd, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that they set forth facts which show that in this case, the petitioner shows the following practical difficulty. This property is hilly. There are other structures on it, but it would be difficult to, current structures cannot accommodate the additional parking that's needed for the safety of the grandparent who owns the property. The following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property that do not generally apply to others in the area. Once again, these current structures were built before the current restrictions were in place. This structure is necessary for the safety of the owner of the property, again, other structures cannot accommodate the parking for the person. The safety of the grandparent, especially in the winter, is crucial. The granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to the welfare or materially injurious to the property or to improvements in the zone or district in which the property is located. The variance was not self-created. And that concludes my motion.
Support.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Danaskis with support by Mr. Walker. Anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mike Flood.
Yes.
John Walker. Alec Kerrigan.
Yes.
Diane Danaskis, yes. Dan Durham.
Yes. Motion passes. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, folks.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you for having to be the second one after a long one.
Yeah, honestly, seeing that made me feel a little bit better, because like, I don't think ours is gonna be as complicated as that. It actually calmed me down a little bit, but I was like, okay, now we can go and again, go watch the Lions, so.
Yeah,
All right, everyone, have a good day.
thank you. Good night.
Public comment, we don't have any. Communications, anything by the board?
We just in your packet about the joint meeting, December 11th. The Board of Trustees and Planning Commission, ZBA.
Has it come through on an email yet?
No.
No?
Just the letter
That
was.
survey.
Okay, Ms. Walker, any?
Couple of things. One, I'm going to read the 5 standards for granting a variance, a non-use variance, to my board members who apparently forgot what they are from that first case. No, I'm not going to do that. Secondly, I'm going to say that the wonderful Orion Library book sale starts tomorrow. Please come, bring your dollars, lots of sales. Support us, support a great institution in that library.
A worthy one for sure. Member comments, any freelance, anything? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, we're done.
You mad at me about the trees?
What time is it?